Welcome back. On February 21st, 600 elementary and high school students will take over 30 of Toronto's TTC stations at the Toronto Transit Commission stations there for the 10th annual Time for Change. It's a 12-hour student art activism project to raise money for Youth Without Shelter, an emergency shelter that helps everyone over 1,000 homeless youth a year. Joining me to speak more about this from our Toronto studios is Lisa Hayman, Development Manager at Youth Without Shelter. Lisa, great to have you here on the program.
Thank you for having me.
So talk to us about Time for Change. How did it all start?
Time for Change, this is actually the 10th anniversary of Time for Change. It started with a few students at York University a number of years ago that designed this program that was really geared towards raising transportation costs for homeless youth. And they started as a third-party event for Youth Without Shelter. It's since been brought into the shelter and is now Time for Change. And it's meant to address the same basic issues, transportation costs, and the wraparound supports for the shelter for homeless youth. How important is something like this? When we look at the numbers, when it comes to homeless youth, the challenges that a lot of youth are facing, how important is something like this, and especially for it to be run by youth? Well, it's vitally important because the youth in the city are really raising awareness of the problem, and they're portraying the realities of homelessness for the youth in our city. And by making people aware, we can address prevention issues, we can address community outreach issues and education issues. And really the key is prevention in the first place.
And quite clearly there, we're just showing, as we're talking to you, some video there to our viewers of what's involved here and what the kids are going to be doing at the respective TTC stations. What do the youth say that get involved in all of this?
It's been interesting because I would say every one of them comments on how much they themselves have learned through the process. Time for Change is actually a year-long event, and it culminates on T4C Day, which is this Friday, February 21st. And the youth that are involved, they themselves are often shocked by what they're learning. It's so easy to walk by youth and not realize the troubles that they are facing, even sometimes the people sitting next to them in a classroom.
Yeah.
And that's vitally important as we work at the prevention piece.
Really opens their eyes to sort of the reality that exists around them. Before I let you go, what's the ultimate goal here now? Let's talk about sort of this year, where you want things to be at.
For this year, ultimately, we're looking to raise $101,000. We'd love to break that $100,000 barrier. And the best way for us to do that is with people coming out on the 21st.
All right. So, and they're going to be, as we mentioned there, 600 elementary high school students. They'll take over 30 of Toronto's TTC stations. We'll hopefully encourage people to come out and to give. Lisa Hayman, Major Gifts Manager at Youth Without Shelter. Great having you here on what is an extremely important conversation to have. Good luck with everything on the 21st.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.